What's up, everybody? I'm Carson. That's Nick. We're here for a midnight review presented by Glasshouse Films. You might not recognize us with the trimmed beard and the fresh cuts.
The fresh cuts?
The freshest of cuts. Yeah, ladies. Ladies.
Yeah, moms that watch this. Not like moms, I mean like our moms watch this.
Yeah.
You know, she'll be happy I got a haircut.
Yeah. So, Solo. I mean, I got feelings on this.
So, medium.
Like, okay. This is what I didn't want to happen when they announced all these Star Wars stories. Like, Rogue One, regardless of how I feel about the movie as a whole, perfect Star Wars story.
And I think the key thing with a Star Wars story is, like, does it contribute?
Does it enrich the universe?
Does it? And I have a feeling that, one, this is totally not going to. I think it's going to be some kind of... Because it takes place just a couple years before A New Hope. Like,
yeah.
He's young in A New Hope.
Yeah, he is.
I think it's just going to be some weird standalone story that's probably entertaining, but adds nothing. Like, as much as I know, like, you don't have the same feelings on Rogue One as I do.
Yeah.
But Rogue One adds a ton to the universe. It filled that Clone Wars, Civil War gap.
Mm-hmm.
Really well. Like, aesthetically, you get, like, the why do we have this stupid-ass exhaust port? You get, like, how did they get the plans? You got information that was hinted at in other movies, but never fully expanded upon. This is just information that nobody really asked for, that we don't need, because the best part about Han Solo is that, like, he is the guy who knows what he likes.
Yeah.
In a series where, like, you have these characters that are evolving as much as they can for a typical, like, hero's journey kind of story. He's the guy who's very...
He doesn't change that much.
Pretty rigid in his beliefs.
Yeah.
Like, he only really makes one change, and that's coming back at the end of A New Hope.
Yeah,
Like,
he doesn't change very much in the grand scheme of things, and that's okay, because his character, that isn't what is required of his character.
Because, yeah, despite not having a huge background, he's like a top 5, top 3 Star Wars / sci-fi character in general. Like,
so Joss Whedon loved him so much he made every member of the crew
he made every character in Firefly Han Solo. That's how good Han Solo is.
Someone else presented in a couple of ideas that I'm like, I would kind of prefer that, which would be a Lando Calrissian film, fuck yeah, or a Maz film, and I'm like, yeah, I'm okay with either of those, because it's doing that same thing. It's filling out the universe.
Exactly. You're filling out the universe. Like, we don't, regardless of how bad some people that is definitely not us might want it. We don't need a Hans. We don't need a Solo story. Stories that would be cool to have. You know, I know the internet loves this one. An Obi-Wan movie would be better than this, because we don't get a background on any Jedi before. Like, the only Jedi we ever get a background story on is Anakin. We don't even really get I mean, Luke's story is... You could argue, now that we have the new trilogy, the sequel trilogy, is his background story. Yeah, but we don't really. get it. And one of the biggest characters in the trilogy, both trilogies in general. Like,
well, a big thing is with an Obi-Wan story, we could explore the pre-Civil War, pre-Clone Wars universe without being dragged down with this shit-ass magnum opus idea.
Yeah, okay, I still love the prequels.
And that's fine.
There's things that the prequels do really good, and there's things that they do really George Lucas. Like, you know, like the best part for me about the prequels is I feel like the world built in the prequels is so much better than the world built in the original trilogy. Yes,
I will agree with that.
And
absolutely.
Like the planets, the aliens, I'm gonna say the characters. I don't necessarily mean the acting, but just the characters, and the characters, like, where they come from and, like, their roles are a lot better than the original trilogy, which is like a superhero's journey. Like, these are the good guys. There's not even, like, the morally gray Jedi Sith thing. It's like you have good guys and bad guys. Yeah. And if we had an Obi-Wan movie, we could totally explore a universe that was, like, kind of constructed better.
Yeah.
But anyways, as far as Solo goes, man, like I just want a good.
Give me a cool heist film.
Yeah, just give me a cool standalone story, and I hope that we kind of get Rogue One. Where my big thing going to Rogue One is I was like, all these guys have to die.
Yeah.
And if they're ever mentioned in the sequel trilogy, I'm gonna be like furious.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason for them to be mentioned.
No.
Because it was a covert
there was
mission.
Barely any reason for
died.
them to be mentioned in.
Exactly, and that's what I liked about that movie so much. Is it's like the horrors of a war, but in Star Wars, like just all these nameless, essentially like characters we became attached to. Well, I became attached to. I don't know. Depends. That I became attached to, and then they just killed off, and like it's coming, but like that's fucking war. Yeah. I want this to at the end have like Han Solo he's gonna end the movie just as scummy and jaded as he was at the start of A New Hope.
What's the over-under on the last few words of this movie being like, oh, I'm headed to Tatooine, or I need to lay low.
Yeah.
I gotta do something for Jabba, or some bullshit.
And you know what?
Like that.
I would be okay with that. What I don't want is some weird... I just don't want some, like, weird, unnecessary, like, throwaways. Like, oh, he says I have a bad feeling about this because, one time his mentor said it or something like that. Or his handler or something.
Okay. We got to go through the list of shit we don't want. That if it happens, we stand up, flip off the screen, and say, fuck this shit, I'm out.
From our luxury seats.
Yeah. So... I love you, I know, but reversed. He
says I love you.
Someone else is like, I know.
I know. Swear to God, there's like an 80% chance that's gonna happen.
Kessel Run. I don't want the fucking Kessel Run.
Don't need it.
Let's see here. I have a bad feeling about this.
I think they already said that in the trailer, didn't they? Or he's like, I have a good feeling about this, or something like that.
That's okay.
If he says I have a good feeling about this, and then everybody dies after he says that, and then from now on he's like, I have a bad feeling about this.
That would be okay.
That like the cosmic, like the force will intervene, and make like everything right.
Balance. Yeah. Those are the big ones. I just don't do that shit, and we'll be okay. Just give me a good movie. Don't do that shit. We'll be okay, movie.
As far as a completely unnecessary movie goes, just give me a cool heist.
Yeah.
I have a bad feeling about this movie just probably not doing anything to expand the Star Wars universe in the same way that Rogue One did. Because one, it's going to take place...
Well, the other thing is we have an idea of exactly where Han is going to end up. He's a scumbag, and he ends a scumbag. Whereas Lando Calrissian is like, starts some kind of scumbag, ends up becoming the governor of Bespin City.
I also Cloud City.
Cloud City on Bespin. That's right.
But I had the whole Lando is pansexual thing spoiled for me. And I'm not gonna say anything, but I will when we get back. Okay. Depending on how big of a thing it is.
I get the feeling that it's gonna be at most.
It's not what you think it is.
No.
Like
at most, it's gonna be like the way they dealt with LeFou in Beauty and the Beast, where like a man comes up and dances with him, and he's just like, okay, and it's like LeFou is gay. It's like, fuck you.
I want to tell you so bad, but when you see it in the movie... I'm going to
see it, I'm just going to be like...
You're going to be like, what was Tumblr thinking? Because, like, it's not anything...
Whatever. Yeah. Just give me a good movie. Let's go see this.
Think more Futurama. Less Tumblr. Let's go see this movie.
Like a star, you can't stop my shine. I'm loving Cloud City, my head's in the sky. I'm solo, I'm Han Solo. I'm Han Solo, I'm Han Solo, solo. Yeah, I'm feeling good tonight. Finally feeling free and it feels so right. Oh, time to do the things I like. Gonna see a princess, everything's alright. Oh.
And we're back. What'd you think?
It's like what I said at the very end. It went every single way I expected, but then like a couple extra ways that I didn't expect.
Yep. It's my second favorite Star Wars movie.
Really?
Yep, right behind The Last Jedi. This is the kind of Star Wars movie I like, or prefer. I'll actually say prefer, because I don't dislike the other Star Wars. I like this Star Wars more, though.
I think it was a good... I think the reason a lot of people are probably going to like it is that it's a good, mostly standalone story.
Yes. Yeah.
I think at this point, it'll be a lot of people's favorites, or,
Close
top
to
2 or top
favorites,
3.
yep.
Not because it's a better movie than any other Star Wars movie, but because it doesn't take 6 to 9 movies to tell it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you can just drop someone in this one.
I think that's the best part of this movie, because the characters are.
Oh, I loved all the characters.
I mean,
loved them all.
Amelia Clark's character is pretty.
Except her.
Pretty one-dimensional.
Her character was fine, and she played it exactly the way she needed to.
I think kind of the whole point of the movie is that every character is one-dimensional. It's a weird, because you have Han, who's a pretty one-dimensional character, and they turned him into a pretty multifaceted character in this movie, and everyone around him is one-dimensional. Like I almost said Wookiee, just his name. Like when when Chewie shows up, you get a lot of angry rage Chewie, which is not how he is in the other movies, but that's how he is in this movie. There's Amelia Clark's character, which is, I don't want to spoil how she's kind of one-dimensional or whatever, but she is.
She plays out the exact way that you think she will.
Yeah.
But I don't really have a problem with that.
I think the movie's really predictable, but it's also just fun to watch.
Yeah, it was an absolute blast.
Yeah.
It was incredibly entertaining. Easily, I can't compare it directly to The Last Jedi as far as looks, because they're staged very different. Mm-hmm. Those are the top 2 best looking Star Wars films. Oh my God, Bradford Young. Oh, I forgot to mention that was a big reason why I was looking forward to this movie. But Bradford Young's work. Oh,
it does look.
Oh, Papa bless, that man is incredible. He was the DP for Arrival.
Mm-hmm. I think the sets in that movie were probably my favorite part about the movie.
Sets were really good. Oh, I really liked the sets. I loved the characters. It was just so fun. Fuck, I love a good fun Star Wars movie. Just give it to me. I love that shit. Yeah, so the story as is kind of learn how young Han Solo comes up. He, born onto a crap hole planet, manages to escape, but has something that has a reason to come back at some point. And so that kind of drives him to accomplish what he needs to accomplish. And in doing so, he meets up with a great ragtag group of scumbags.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and we also do get to know how he met Chewie, which I like the way they did that.
Yeah, I like the way he met Chewie.
The stuff that, I won't say what it was because they didn't do all of the things we said, but the stuff that it did do, the movie had earned enough credit with me that when they're like, oh, we got to do this thing, I'm like, okay, let's see where it goes. Let's see where it goes. And I gotta say, I was totally fine with the way it went. It was a lot of fun.
I was half on board with it.
And I completely understand. I really do. But as far as I'm concerned, it had, man, by the end of when we really kick into the movie, it had already earned a ton of goodwill from me.
I think for the most part, I like the movie, but I'm not nearly as enamored with it as you.
Yeah,
I might put it in the top half of Star Wars movies.
It was just so much fun.
Yeah,
this is the kind of Star Wars I like. I like the really fun stuff that sometimes it's a little goofy, but you know what? It's fun.
Yeah, it was a good movie. So of the 4 new Star Wars movies we have, I think it is the weakest of all of them, but I also liked all of them. Yeah, I still think
there's no bad one.
Yeah, I still think it would go somewhere between Rogue One and Last Jedi, Force Awakens, and then this one.
Yeah.
But the best part about this movie for me was just that it's like a standalone story. Because like it's nice because for the most part when the movie's over, you're like,
good,
and that's it.
Yep.
It was just like Rogue One in the way where when the movie's over, you're like,
and that's the way the story goes.
And that's the end of the story.
Yep.
Mostly. Less so than Rogue One, but most.
Yeah, I mean, for a couple of reasons.
There's a couple of reasons, and none of them we can talk about.
Yeah.
But
they're also not super egregious either. I don't think they're super egregious.
I can't even. One of them could be seen as pretty fucking egregious.
Maybe.
Definitely, because it's actually opens. I'm not gonna spoil it, but you're gonna make me go into it. It's actually gonna open this shit up for a sequel, which I don't want.
Potentially.
No, definitely, because they've. I'll spoiler it and have to go into it with you if you really want.
No, not right now.
They.
Okay, I'm not saying you're wrong.
100% left. Two characters like completely open at the end of the movie, dropped exposition, and then ended the movie.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I just don't know if I see them do it.
I know, but it's either.
But if they did, I wouldn't be surprised.
You have to concede it's either a bad way to tie up characters, or they're trying to open it up for a sequel. Because there's no way you can just end two characters like that. And then just say like, oh yeah, and then 6 more movies happened, and we've never heard from these two characters since. It'd be like the equivalent of, it's almost would be like, how would you feel if at the end of Rogue One,
if we didn't
Jyn Erso was just like still alive and just pieced out,
onto a
she just pieced out and was still alive at the end of the movie, and you're like, well, where could she possibly be?
Yeah.
For the rest of the rebellion.
Yeah.
They did that with 2 characters.
No, I'm not. Okay, again, I'm not disagreeing with you.
All right.
But
You know who one of those characters is, though.
Yes.
And why would they not be involved with any of the rebellion at all? What reasoning? Other than not wanting to be in the rebellion, and if so, why not? Like, how can you just drop all that exposition and then have 6 movies?
I don't feel like it was dropping a ton of exposition.
They did.
I don't feel like it at all. I felt like it was... I liked it. And I'm like, you know what? I don't ever need to see anything about this again. That was cool. I like that.
I mean, they brought in...
I know they brought in a heavy swinger. They brought in a slugger for it. I know.
Yeah, there's...
But...
I think they're trying to get another movie out of it.
Possibly. I don't know.
They're trying to get another movie out of it.
I don't know, and I also don't care.
They're trying to get more seasons of Rebels or something. But whether or not you care is a big part of the movie.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. I don't.
It's a huge part of the movie.
I don't. Therefore, it doesn't bug me one way or the other.
But I mean, you're probably in the like single-digit % of people who that won't bother.
Yeah, probably.
So I mean, you could dismiss it if you don't like that character, but it's a huge.
I don't
part of the
see it
movie.
as dismissing it. I just don't care.
Right at the end.
Yeah.
And it's either weird, shoddy way to ditch 2 characters, or they're trying to get another movie. And I think, given who those 2 characters are, they're probably either going to try to spin it into something. You know, I don't see any way of them not try to spin it.
If they did, I wouldn't have a problem with it, because I liked what this movie was doing and where it existed.
Yeah, I feel like it was a really good standalone story. Did your lights go out?
There we go.
Oh, okay. I think it was a really good standalone story.
Yep.
That bit aside.
Yep. I enjoyed the ever-living hell out of it. It was beautiful.
The set's really good.
It was shot perfectly. Easily Ron Howard's best film.
Best film. Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be so thus far this year I've seen 1 movie twice in cinemas, and that was Annihilation. The other 2 are definitely going to be Deadpool 2 and this one. I'm going to see this again in cinemas. This is one of the most fun times I have had at the cinema. And I mean, as you can tell from the beginning of this review, I didn't think I'd feel that way.
I think I'm about where I was, where just, you know, it was a fun movie.
Yeah.
It's a standalone story.
Yep.
I think it's, you know, it's probably like the least important like story we've got in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
But in some ways that like has its merits.
Yep.
Because you're like, oh, more Force, more weird Force fucking Jedi dynasties.
Yeah.
Like, it's nice that
It
this
fills
doesn't
out
have
the
any of
universe. Yeah.
that.
In a way that I like. Or not fills it out, but it like...
It shows a part of the
broadens
universe that has next to like no relevance to any of the rest of the story, because it didn't really like
Which is fine
it didn't
by
like
me.
fill out like the story that is being told, that we've like been having told us for the last 30 years.
Sorry. New cars. It doesn't have a button, so I gotta...
Yeah.
Anyway.
It doesn't
fine
fill
with
out that story, but it fills out a different part, you know?
Yeah, and
in the way that
galaxy.
Rogue One was like bridging, you know, the original trilogy to like the prequel trilogy.
Yeah.
This is just kind of like running in parallel to
Almost that story, really.
Yeah.
Almost. So yeah, I gotta say, I dug the shit out of it. I recommend going and seeing this
go
thing.
see it.
It was an absolute blast at the cinemas. So next week,
Probably something stupid.
probably something stupid.
Probably something stupid.
I have no idea what's next week.
Skyscraper.
Oh, it's probably Skyscraper.
Watch The Rock kind of limp, but not really limp.
He's got a really cool robot leg, though. Yeah,
Yeah, he's got, like, a really
Skyscraper.
good one.
Die Hard in a skyscraper.
Oh, what? Die Hard. Die Hard 4 times taller.
Oh, whatever. Anyway, no matter what it is, we will be back here next week to figure out what that is and to watch it and to review it for you folks at home. Please like this video, subscribe to this channel. It means so much to me when I see that notifications, like one more person's like, I click on it and it's like, you're fat assholes. Okay, somebody watched the review. Cool, works for me. So please, don't call us fat assholes, but if you have to, fine, whatever, I don't care. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/glassfilmshouse. Damn that light. Twitter @glasshousefilms and facebook.com/glasshousefilms. Thank you all so much, and we will be back here next week. Woo! Bye.